Assalamu alaikum. What's up? Oh, okay, a few people today. That's alright, that's right. I still see a full house, by the way. You know why? Do you know why? I always say this, but if you're not familiar with that, I'm going to repeat it again. Because whenever there's a gathering where the names of Allah is mentioned, the gathering of ilm, the angels come down. This is a full house, really. So don't be fooled by the illusion of empty seats. So the seats are not empty. The angels are here right now. They're making dua for all of us, even those who are sleeping. The hadith said that even those who are at the side of the majlis, not in the majlis, the angels make dua for them as well. So you being here, even though you're sleeping, I know it's tiring after a full day, the angels make dua for you. So it's not a waste. It's not a waste, inshallah ta'ala. So I have 30 minutes, inshallah. I can do this. So the topic that I chose for this one is hikmah, the key to da'wah. Now, I use a lot of Arabic terms too in that title. I have to define it for you, inshallah. From this point onwards, for this purpose of this talk, the word da'wah, I'll refer as invitation. Everybody cool with that? So when I say invitation, it means da'wah. When I say you invite someone, you're giving da'wah to someone. When I say an inviter, that is a da'i. Someone's giving da'wah. When I say an invitee, the mad'u, the one who is being given da'wah to. Cool with that? So I'm going to use invitation as a word for da'wah. For hikmah, I'll translate it as wisdom or sunnah. They're both related. The sunnah is full of wisdom. Wisdom is the sunnah. So these two key terms I'll be using again and again. I won't be using hikmah and da'wah for the purpose because sometimes people use these Arabic terms and they think that everybody knows them. It's a beautiful terms. These are beautiful terms, mashallah. But know that your audience, sometimes they don't understand Arabic. Not even like, alhamdulillah. Right? So when you speak, especially to a general audience, know that there are people who don't even understand the basic terms. So use language that are close to the people. So I use English, inshallah. So definitions, done. Before I get into the how to do da'wah, which is a very famous question, the good thing about when you get emails and emails and emails is that you start to see patterns. Right? When you get hundreds, thousands of emails, you notice patterns. There are certain things that keeps popping up. For example, things that keeps popping up, for in my case at least, is that people keep saying, I don't have anywhere else to go to. Sad, but it's there. And you should know that. There are people out there who think that they don't have friends that are close enough to them that they can share problems to. They don't have family members that are close enough to them that they can share their griefs with. Know that this is the reality of many people. Also, another famous question is, how do I change someone? How do I do da'wah to this person? How do I talk to this person? I'll get that in a moment. But before that, the fundamental question of any action that you do, be it sitting down right now, tweeting, or sleeping even, ask yourself this: why? Why am I doing this? It's a fundamental question. You know why? Because any action that you do has to stand on some sort of ground. It's like a building. You have to build that building on a sound, solid foundation. Otherwise, that building will fall down. So, on what ground are you building that building? Your action is the building. But on what ground? That is the why. Your intention, the purpose of what you're doing. Now we're talking about da'wah. So why are you doing da'wah? It's a rhetorical question. Ask that to yourself. You have the answer. I don't have to know. The reasons for doing da'wah, you have the easy answer, you have the deeper, complicated answer. I'm going to give the easy answer. The easy answer is because Allah commands us to do so. Easy answer. But a more complicated answer will give you a deeper, much profound understanding of why you're doing da'wah in the first place. The Prophet ﷺ said in a hadith, it's a beautiful hadith, listen closely. He said, Allah guides by you one person that is better than the red camels in the world. Now for the Arabs, the red camels are like luxury. So if you want to make it relevant to us today, because we don't have camels, so we're like, red camels. Imagine the most valuable thing you have in your life, material wealth. That is what it's meant here. It is better that Allah guides by you one person. That is better than all the material wealth of the world. One person, just one person. Now, look at this. Look at the hadith. Look at the sequence. Allah guides by you one person. So there's Allah, there's you, there's the person. Three different parties in this hadith. Okay. Now, among these three, who is the most important? I can ask the angels to answer the question, but I don't want to hear from you. Who is the most important in these three?
Allah.
Allah is the most important in these three. I just want to hear it louder. That's why. Allah is the most important. This is an obvious answer. Okay, now between you and the person, which one is more important? Who is the more important between the two? Is it you as the da'i, as the inviter, or the person as the invitee? Which one is more important? The person is more important. This is the key. The person, the invitee, is more important than the inviter. You know why? Look at how the Prophet worded this hadith. Allah guides by you one person. Meaning Allah is using us as a guide for this person. We're just a tool. And don't take it the wrong way. It is an honor if Allah chose us to be guidance for this person. But realize that we're just a tool. Allah uses us for this purpose. This is an honorable purpose. You are blessed. But know that this person is more important than you. He's more important than you. Now the big question is, when you do da'wah, are you doing this so that this person can get closer to Allah, or so that this person can get closer to you? In other words, it's a rhetorical question, sorry. I should have prefaced that. In other words, are you pointing this person to Allah or to you? Because many a times there are sheikhs or inviters who are not pointing people to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they're pointing people to themselves. You need to worship me. In essence, that's what they're saying. But as a da'i, as an inviter, a true inviter, you're pointing people to Allah. You're showing care to the person so that that person may get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with or without you. Because you know, in this three sequence, you are the least important, if any. Everybody following so far? I should have started with this talk and then that talk. But that talk is lighter, this talk is more heavier. I just realized that. Sorry. I'll try to make it light, inshallah, inshallah. But please keep up with me. Alright? Cool? Right, the organizer says I'm cool. I know I'm cool, but thank you very much. Okay, you are the least important, if you have any importance at all. Now this is very important because you have to realize this. I'll give you a test to see whether you consider yourself more important or less important. Say if you invite someone and that person rejects your invitation, how would you feel? Do you feel offended or sad? A rhetorical question, don't worry about it. Right now the answer doesn't matter, because when it happens, then the answer matters. It is at the point, at the heat of the moment, that is when that question matters. Right now, I'm just asking you so that you keep it in mind. When it happens, ask yourself that question: what am I feeling? Am I feeling offended or sad? If both, which one is more? I feel sad because this person can't get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's what we should feel. But if I feel offended that this person rejects me, that's a red flag. I'm not answering this question for anyone. I'm answering this question for myself. You will have to answer your own question. What happens at the heat of the moment, remember this question. Because right now you're relaxed, you're chill, you know. The ego has this thing where, you know, everything has to be positive for the ego. The ego has to be protected. If you learn psychology, you know this. But when the ego is being harmed, the mechanism is to protect the ego. Right now, in Islam, many a times, the ego is being not harmed, but challenged. Because you don't want to follow the ego. The ego does not direct you to the right places. This is the foundation. Know why you're doing it. The test is simple. At the heat of the moment, say, if you invite me, and I say no, what do you feel? What do you feel? This is the why. The purpose of this is you want to be a means, and it is an honor to be a means, a tool, so that this person may get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if, hypothetically, that person gets closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but not through you, you're still happy, because that's the point. Why? Done. Any questions? Cool. Okay. Now we go to the big question. How to give da'wah? Famous question. And when people say, how do I talk to this person? How do I talk to this person? My first answer is always, I don't know. You know why? Because you know this person better than me. So how am I going to answer that question? Like somebody asked me, how do I talk to my mother? She's your mother. I don't know her. I can talk to my mother. I know my mother well. But I can't talk to your mother. I don't know what she's like, her personality, her you know, how she is. I have no idea, but you know. That means you have the edge, not me. But I can help you, giving you guidelines, not black and white answer. If the question how to do da'wah, you're expecting an answer, okay, step 1, 2, 3, 4, good. That's not going to happen. Why? Because you're talking about human beings. And if there's anything that I learned in psychology is that human beings are complicated. Complicated. Women more than men. No. I just throw a zinger in there so that you're awake. I didn't mean that, sorry. Sorry. But human beings, they are complicated beings. You can't summarize a human being in a textbook. Impossible. You can't do that. But what Islam gives us is guidelines. And this guideline you can use in many different situations, many different places, many different times. That's what guidelines are for. Now the guideline is to give da'wah, do so with hikmah, with wisdom. That's what the Quran says. With the Quran and the Sunnah. With wisdom. And also the Quran says that there will be among you a group of people who call others to good. The key term is that there be from among you. From among you, a group of people who call others to good. From among you means what? You gotta be from the people, man. Like if I wanted to give da'wah to Malaysians, you have to at least understand Malaysians. It's common sense. Right? We have different cultures. If you're from Canada, you want to give da'wah to Malaysians, you have to know, you know. You don't say this thing, you don't do this thing, because it's offensive here, it might not be offensive there. So from among you meaning that you have to understand the people. And that entails that you have to know the people. Which relates to my first talk. How many of the pages of the people's book have you flipped? How deep do you know the person before you give da'wah? I mean, the Prophet ﷺ, he's an amazing man. He understood not just the people, but the individuals within the people. He knows a person at the individual level. He knows if I say this, this will move him, but not that. I'm not going to use that, I'm going to use this. He knows. He understood the people. He was with the people. He flipped through their pages in and out and flipped it again. Because if you read the book once, if you read it again, sometimes you learn something new. Like the Quran. You read it again and again, you discover something new each time. Same goes with people. You don't ta'aruf. What's it in English? Introduce? Ta'aruf? Introduce? Okay, you don't know the person once. You know them again and again and again, so that you learn new things. That's like a book, just like a book. So be from among the people, be relevant to them, so that when you approach them, they know that this guy is from among me. Because people, they love familiarity. They love familiarity. Let me tell you one story. The Prophet ﷺ, one time he wants to give da'wah to this group of men, a group of people. And he knew that in this particular group, this particular culture, you could say, the men braid their hair. So before he went to those people, he asked one of his companions, I think it was his wife or his companion, please braid my hair. He asked him, braid my hair. Before he went to the people. Why? Because he knows how to get through people. So when he approached them, they will say, he's like from us, he's like our people. And people are more readily to listen to people that they are familiar with, that they're comfortable with. This is human nature. This is human nature. So be relevant to the people. Understand people. Now let's talk about hikmah. Let's talk about wisdom. What is wisdom? Wisdom is 4 things. Wisdom is 4 things. You have to know what to say, how to say it, when to say it, and whether or not you are the right person to say it. I'll say it again. Wisdom is knowing what to say, how to say it, when to say it, and whether or not you are the right person to say it. Now you have to know what to say, of course. You have to know, you have to have the knowledge. You have to give the right facts. You don't want to lie, you don't want to, lead people astray. You have to know what to say. Speak good, right? You have to know what to say. But speaking good is not enough. You have to speak good in a good way. Second point, know how to say it. Know how to say it. Let me tell you another story because people are sleeping. I know. The Prophet, man, is he's amazing. He's amazing. One time, a man known in the region to be an undisputed champion wrestler. His name was Rukana. Rukana was his name. He came to the city of Medina, I think. He came, and the Prophet knew that he came. So the Prophet went to him, and this guy didn't know that he was the Prophet. Like, there was no Facebook, you can't Google Prophet Muhammad, like, boom, profile. You can't do that. So he didn't know that this man was Prophet Muhammad. But the Prophet came to him and he said, I challenge you to a wrestling match. The Prophet challenged him, the undisputed, never lost once in his life. Challenged him. The man was like, come on. Like, he ridiculed him. He ridiculed the Prophet, saying that. He ridiculed him, he could not imagine somebody challenging him because he was that good. So he was like, okay, cool, I'm gonna wrestle you. Why not? Okay? The Prophet said, are you ready? The Prophet said, are you ready? And then the guy said, yeah, sure. And then the Prophet threw him. Threw him. And the guy was dumbfounded, like, whoa. What just happened? No, he didn't. He couldn't believe it. So he's like, second round, please. And yeah, are you ready? Cool, right. Go. Throw him again. The second time. The third time, again, same thing happened. He threw him. He whooped his Now this guy is like, okay, this is some. So he's ready to listen. and he accepted Islam. He accepted Islam. The Prophet wrestled him to Islam. Now why am I saying that? I'm saying this because he knew, the Prophet knew that wrestling was his language. Wrestling was the language that he understood. Rukana understood wrestling. So I'm going to talk with him through wrestling. And that's how he became Muslim. Now, I'm not saying you go wrestle with your friends to Islam or something. But I'm saying know the people. Know their language. Know how to say it. Say here doesn't mean verbal only. It also means your body language. Sometimes you say it in a nice way, but your body language says a different thing. You know that 97, 93, I forgot statistics. 97% of our language is non-verbal. Right? How you stand, how your facial expression, your hand gesture, your tone of voice. All these are languages. And people, us, we know these languages indirectly through years and years of adaptation, of culturation. We know this without learning. Like I know if you sit like that, you're bored. You're bored. I know if you're doing like that, that means you're angry. I know. But who taught me? Nobody. I just know it from culture, from exposure. I know if you do this, you're angry at me. If you do this, you're like flirting right now. But nobody taught me this. But we know. So 97% of language is non-verbal. Remember that. So when you give in da'wah, not only do you have to listen carefully to every word you say, but you have to listen carefully with what you don't say. But you know that other people are listening about the thing that you don't say. So know what to say, know how to say it, and know when to say it. Timing, man, timing. Sometimes people, as soon as they see something, boom, immediately, oh, this is haram, 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 reload, haram, 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 haram. As soon as they see something, right? No context, no waiting, no like trying to learn a bit more about the person, immediately, boom. For example, if you want to talk to your friend, timing. If that friend is in a bad mood, not a good time. Not a good time. Find the right time. And preferably the right place as well. Last one. Know that whether you are the right person to say it. Accept that sometimes you're not the right person to say it. Especially with family members. Do you agree? It's just a fact. Especially with family members. I mean, if you want to do da'wah to your father, you might not be the best person to say it. But if your father listens to you, that's a different thing. But normally, dads don't listen to their kids. They don't. But there's a difference in like the so-called status levels, right? You want to say to your dad, Allah Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Shut up, beta! I mean, you're not the right person to do it. What you're saying is good. You're saying the right thing. You might be doing the right way. You might have the right timing, but you're just not the right person. You're just not. Accept the fact. We all have different. I say this all the time. We are like magnets. We are magnets. We attract certain types of people. You attract certain type of people. You attract certain type of people. I attract certain type of people. Which means that there are other people that are not attracted to me. Meaning that if I say anything, they're not going to listen. Just a fact. Let me tell you a story that happened to Imam Abu Hanifa. Right? His mother asked him a question. Imam Abu Hanifa, very knowledgeable man. Very knowledgeable man. His mother asked him a question. And Imam Abu Hanifa provided the answer. His mother didn't believe him. Didn't believe him. It's like, I want a second opinion. Wait, why did I just sound Pakistani? She wanted a second opinion. I imagine moms and aunties like, I want a second opinion. I apologize to if there's a Pakistani in the house, I apologize. I have a lot of Pakistani friends, they're dear to my heart, so I catch upon their, slang. So she wanted a second opinion. So she asked another man the same question. So happens that that man was the student of her son. So this man got a question from the mother of his teacher. So he's like a little bit freaked out a bit. So he went to Imam Abu Hanifa. He's like, Imam, your mother came to me asking about this question. What should I do? So Imam Abu Hanifa says, this is the answer. Tell her this, but don't tell her that I told you. So the man went, told the answer to Imam Abu Hanifa's mother, and she accepted the answer. Similar answer, different person. And here's the key, Imam Abu Hanifa was not offended. He was not offended. Even though he was a very respectable scholar, very, very knowledgeable, he wasn't like, how dare she? He didn't do that. Because why? He had the right purpose in mind. As long as she gets closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I'm happy, even though I'm not the tool that Allah used for that purpose. I'm happy that anyone who gets closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with or without our help, we should be happy. When somebody takes the shahada, we shouldn't be like, oh man, I should have given him the shahada. It should be me who's giving him the shahada, not that guy. You should be happy. Another person gets closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a cause for celebration. We should be happy, regardless of who guides him there. So how do you do da'wah? First thing, know the purpose. Know the purpose. And have the correct mindset before you approach people. And remember hikmah, wisdom. Because this is all over in the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You can read and read. It's amazing. It's amazing. I'll close with this. Oh man, this one story just keeps getting. This one hadith, we can learn a lot from it. A man came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You've heard of this before. And asked the Prophet, Ya Rasulullah, could you give me permission to do zina? Could you give me permission to do zina? Can we ask that question today? Can I go to an imam in a masjid? I have this problem, and I go to the imam, Ya Imam, I can't control myself. Can I do zina? The fact that we cannot ask that question tells a lot about our community right now. The fact that he can freely ask the Prophet that question reflected how awesome those communities were. That they can approach the Prophet with the unthinkable problem. We wouldn't think that somebody would ask the Prophet this question, but the fact that he asked tells a lot about the community and tells a lot about the Prophet ﷺ, meaning that he listened. You can come to me with your problem. I don't care what your problem is. I will listen. I will listen. I may or may not be able to help you, but I will listen. And that in and of itself is a form of help, that you are able to listen, to open your mind and allow that person to open up. A lot of people who emails me, they said that nobody listens. They can't go to anybody else. So they came to me, a total stranger, through email. They've never met me, I've never met them, just so that somebody may listen. Somebody may listen. Now if you want to talk about da'wah, let's talk about listening first. Before you speak, talk about listening first. The first rule of speaking is listening. If you can't listen, don't speak. Be silent. So I'll leave you with that thought, inshallah. Jazakumullah khairan. Salam.